The late 1940s and early 1950s were decisive years for India, a newly independent nation. While certain leaders were busy charting the country's economic policies and growth, others were formulating policies that focused on the people's reproductive health, a concept encompassing total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, including physical, emotional, behavioral, and social. These policies led to the establishment of the Family Planning Association of India in 1949. In 1951, the government launched a series of action programs and plans called Family Planning. This move catapulted India into a select group of countries that had chalked out a national family planning program. Later, in 1997, the government initiated the reproductive and child health care programs that focused on creating and spreading awareness about various reproduction-related aspects such as contraception and infertility, as well as providing and supporting facilities Today, the government, along with family planning experts, is continuously chalking out strategies to address the latest challenges arising in reproductive health. For instance, people in rural India still don't have access to information relating to sex and reproduction. Hence, various governmental and non-governmental agencies have been roped in to propagate information. Experts associated with family planning have also realized that today's youngsters depend on the internet as well as other sources including movies, friends and magazines to learn about sex-related aspects. However, information gathered from these sources may or may not be reliable. Moreover, at times, the information can create myths as well as misconceptions and even unhealthy attitudes towards sex-related aspects. Therefore, these experts are advocating the need for sex education in schools. They argue that it will go a long way in imparting correct and relevant information about sex. Moreover, it will also make youngsters aware of social evils like sex abuse and sex-related crimes and the steps they need to take to fight such social evils. Experts also believe that people, especially adolescents, should be sensitized to hygienic sexual practices such as cleaning one's genitals, sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, adolescence, and related mental and bodily changes, which in turn will ensure a reproductively healthy society. Another strategy to improve reproductive health is by educating couples as well as individuals of marriageable age about birth control options, gender equality, pre- and post-pregnancy care, Such education will also decrease maternal as well as infant mortality rates and limit the size of families. In fact, the government had created a strategic plan for 2005 to 2009 that had 5 action areas, namely, providing expert medical care and assistance to people on wide-ranging issues including pregnancy and delivery, STDs, abortions, menstrual problems, and infertility is another step taken by the government. Moreover, the the government has also set up research centers that aim to find solutions to reproduction-related problems. One such center is the Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow, which is credited for developing Saheli, an oral contraceptive for women. Apart from setting up research centers, the government is also establishing hospitals and medical centers, especially in the rural areas, to provide an impetus to medically assisted deliveries as well as to provide postnatal medical care. This will help bring down maternal and infant mortality rates as well as encourage couples to have smaller families. The government is also conducting mass immunization programs to bring down the infant mortality rate. Did you know that the government has banned amniocentesis, a fetal sex determination test based on the chromosomal pattern in which the amniotic fluid surrounding the developing embryo is drawn by inserting a needle in the mother's abdomen? In this manner, the government has initiated a lot of programs and plans to build a reproductively healthy India. At the dawn of independence, India was an underdeveloped country, with its population having no access to good medical care. Life expectancy was just 32 years, and infant mortality as high as 180 per 1,000 births. However, living conditions improved as the government built hospitals, educated people about health-related issues, and conducted immunization programs. These steps nearly doubled the life expectancy rate and lowered the infant and maternal mortality rate. But with the birth rate remaining more or less the same, this led to population explosion, a situation where the population of a country far outstrips its sustaining capacity. In fact, India's population, which was 350 million during independence, went past the 1 billion mark in 2000, making India the second most populous country after China. Demographers fear that if the current birth rate of 1.7% is not lowered, India's natural and economic resources will be strained, depriving many of even basic necessities such as food, clothing, and shelter. To arrest the population growth, the government has raised the legal marriageable age of girls and boys to 18 and 21 years respectively. The government is also using the media to drive home the benefits of having smaller families. Moreover, government agencies are also actively encouraging couples to go for contraception, which is an intentional prevention of an unwanted pregnancy, through the use of contraceptive methods. Contraceptive methods can be broadly categorized as natural or traditional methods, barrier methods, intrauterine devices, oral contraceptives, injectables, implants, and surgical methods. Natural methods, the oldest form of contraception, work on the principle of circumventing the chances of the sperm fertilizing the ovum. They are of three types: periodic abstinence, coitus interruptus, and lactational amenorrhea. In periodic abstinence, couples abstain from copulation during the fertile period, which occurs between days 10 and 17 of the menstrual cycle. This is when ovulation or the release of the egg occurs, which increases the chances of conception. Another natural method is coitus interruptus, which is also known as the withdrawal method. Lactational amenorrhea, or the absence of menstruation during lactation, is another natural method which works on the principle that lactating women don't menstruate for up to 6 months following parturition. This is because the hormone oxytocin, which stimulates milk production, also suppresses ovulation. Naturally, without ovulation, conception